Now for the Thai chili or Thai stir fry, I've just put a bit of oil in the wok and turned it on high. And now what I'm going to do is throw in just a little bit of the red chilies I chopped up earlier, the red chili, Thai chilies, a bit more of the garlic, and then a bit of the ginger too. And not all of it, so that I'm going to add more in. And what that'll do is it'll give a nice caramelized browning flavor to it, and also it'll tell me when the pan's hot enough to start adding other stuff. So I'll just put you on pause again. Okay. So you can start to hear it sizzling away. Give it a little stir. There's a fair bit of oil in there, you know, because there's a lot of vegetables going in there, and this is really all the oil that goes in the whole meal. So I'm going to get this up to temperature, and then I'm going to start adding first the carrots and a little bit of the onion. I don't want all the onion in because I want some of it to stay kind of fresh and crisp, but I'm going to put a lot of it in later. But I want to get the carrots in because they're going to take a bit longer, and then I might also choose like the bits of the onion that are less pretty to go in first because they're going to cook a lot further. And then I'm going to get the whole whack of the carrot in because that takes a lot longer to cook. I just put all the carrots in and try and get out. I throw in a couple of the orange peppers that I want to stay a little fresher. I want those to go later in. So I just pull those out. So I'm going to turn on the fan now because this is getting a little bit smelly, and I'll put you on pause. Okay, so above the sound of the fan, you can see that I've got those carrots and a little bit of the onion in there. And you know, a little bit of the peppers have fallen in as well. Not the end of the world. So I'm just going to sweat these up. It cools down the pan as soon as you add stuff. So with this, you want to keep it at a certain temperature. You don't want it too hot or too cold, and you don't want anything to burn, obviously. Okay, so that first bit of carrot and the onions have sweated up nicely. They're softened, they're covered in oil. Now I'm going to add the remainder of the onions. Try not to get too much tofu in. And again, I could add the peppers now, but I'm not going to because these onions are going to cool down the pan, and I want to keep that kind of optimal temperature as I work with this. So then get those in and then just coat those up with oil as well. Alright, so the onions and carrots are all in. Got a nice sweat going on. Nothing's blackening. I don't really want this one to blacken. Did that beautiful job of julienning everything, so I really wanted it all to present nicely. It's got a very fresh feel to it. So next I'm just going to start adding in the peppers and continue on. Alright, so the peppers have been in sweating for a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but a couple of the first onions that went in have actually browned a little bit, and that's nice because just those two first ones will get a bit of a smoky flavor to them. But then all the ones that went in later will retain that kind of fresh juiciness. I'm just going to let these move around a little bit. The pan is staying nice and hot, not too hot, because I've been gradually adding stuff to maintain the temperature of the pan without adjusting it. And soon I'll probably have to bring it down. So next I'm going to add the snow peas and the tofu together. So I can basically just throw all those in together. One. So that's the julienne tofu. Now I want to be a little careful because I don't want to mutilate the tofu, so I'll be very careful when I mix that in. So everything's coming along nicely there. What I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of oil in this pocket I've created down here, and then I'm going to add the remainder of the ginger, garlic, and Thai pepper. So I've just made a little pool of oil, and now I'm going to put the ginger, garlic, and Thai pepper in that, and then brown it up a little bit, and then mix it through with the rest. See if I can show that down there. Just try and get it in the oil at the bottom, and then just slowly integrate that with everything else. Okay, so it's now reaching a point where I really like the way it's looking. Starting to stick a little bit to the bottom of the pan. So I'm just going to turn it down And then I'm also going to add a bit of Thai. So this is like a nice vegan Thai chili paste that I use. Hopefully that's not an advertisement. I'm making a fair bit, so I'm going to put a lot in. So that just, that really brings it up a notch. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of rice wine vinegar in. And I'll pour that in together so that the two of them mix. Now you don't need a lot, it's just to add a bit of flair to it. And you can already smell like it really gives it that nice Thai flavor when you do that. And you add it in. And I'll mix those through. Now this is looking very close to done. The rice should almost be done. The rice is on low heat, so it can go for quite a while. So just make sure I mix that through nicely. Now I'll just create a little well in the middle, and I'll start adding my mushrooms. So I'm going to go with the ones that I want to cook longer first, and then I'll add the really fancy ones right at the end. Okay, so the first lot of mushrooms has gone in, and now I'm just going to add the really nice ones that I want to remain kind of whole and keep their color right at the end. And I'll just gently stir those in because I don't want to break them up too much. They're really nice, so I'll just try and get from the underside. A little hard to hold the camera and do this. But I'm basically just lifting it in, and then those will steam in nicely. And then it's pretty much done. You know, I'm gonna give it a little bit of time for the mushrooms to steam for a little bit, and then while I, you know, plate up the rice and stuff like that. Now the rice is probably very close to done. There's not much steam coming off it when I lift the lid. So sometimes, you know, if you get a lot of steam, you can imagine that there's probably still a lot of water. But you're not supposed to go lifting the lid until it's pretty much done anyway. So I'll stir this up, and then you know, we'll serve that on rice. Sometimes I put it on noodles and stuff, but tonight I won't be. Okay, so the Thai food is basically ready. I'm just going to turn that off. You can still hear it sizzling a bit. And essentially the mushrooms have really been more steaming into this than... is that actually visible over there? They've been steaming into that more than they've been frying like everything else. So I'll just get a bit, put it on top of the rice bed. Now we'll add soy sauce to taste. So you get kind of a nice julienne look. It's got a really nice vinegary, spicy, gingery smell to it. So just cover that up neatly. Now because I really like them, let's just get a bit more. And you can still see a few of the really nice looking mushrooms and things. And so these are just black sesame seeds. I don't know if it's really Thai, but I really like them, and being vegan, it's a little more protein. Also, it's not one of those things you really want to keep in your cupboard for 6 months. Once you've got them, you should use them because they're so nice fresh, and with enough time, the oil will go a bit rancid. So just a nice little smattering of the black sesame, and then a bit of garnish. Nice little piece of, nice little bit of the that beautiful Thai basil. Just put a piece of that on, and then also for a real flavor, it's a real nice zing to the Thai basil that you throw on top. So I'll probably add a bit more at the table. So I'll bring this to the table so we can add it in. You know, this one's a little bit big. I'll put it on mine because I don't mind. So there we go. So that's a nice Thai stir fry with julienne vegetables topped with basil. I hope you enjoy it.